I was seeing how long I can keep that face. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another day, but welcome to another live stream player prop talk here on the channel. As always, I hope this finds you doing well and in good spirits. Background music is down to a reasonable volume. I will apologize in advance, though, for any technical difficulties we encounter during today's live stream. The weather is pretty bad here in Austin, and the infrastructure at AT&T is so flimsy that unless it's clear sky, sunny day, that I do expect there to be some difficulty when it's overcast, gloom, drizzle, rain. God forbid it's not a perfect day outside. Oh my God. But we'll get through it. We'll get through it as always. I hope this finds you doing well. I hope you are in good spirits. I hope your Taco Tuesday, who am I kidding? Taco Tuesday was the worst. It was the worst. Just the fucking worst. 2 out of 3 tacos, chalk. One didn't even come close. We talked about this on the stream yesterday, avoiding that first taco. But that third taco, oof. How tilting was that? NHL Taco comes through per usual. So you go 1-3 with the tacos yesterday. That was brutal. Yeah, pretty bad. Aside from that, I hope your Tuesday went well. I hope your night was good. I hope life treated you well yesterday. Let's get on with the stream, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hit that like button on your way in. If you are a repeat offender, hit that like button on your way in even harder. But as we always do, we start off with the most morbid intro known to man. Now, I'm sure there's something out there worse we can be talking about, but we're talking about death right now, and over 10% of the U.S. population will experience that each and every night. If you're listening to this, you're seeing this, then you did not die in your sleep. Therefore, you are hashtag blessed. Do something cool today. Treat yourself, then treat somebody else. In that order, treat yourself, then treat somebody else. If you don't watch out for you, I guarantee you, nobody else will. And there's nothing wrong with treating yourself. It's not selfish. People would think that's selfish, or stay away from those people. Hashtag blessed. So do something fun today. How about let's not lose money today? That would be fun. How about let's play a promo today that doesn't lose money? That would be fun. That's my definition of fun. Also putt golf. Glow in the dark putt golf. That's pretty fun too. Unless you're stuck behind somebody who can't make the damn shot, and then you're just waiting. But overall, it's a fun experience. Let's move on to not a fun experience. Injury report for today, April 24th, 2024. Very small injury report, as we've been seeing over the playoffs. More likely, you can play, you're going to play. Zeller is in. Zion is out. Butler is out. Rozier is out. And Luke Cornett remains out for the Celtics. So the typical names, typical is not the right word. Same names we saw last game are out this game. Zion remains out. Butler's out for a while. Multiple weeks was the initial report. I don't know what that means. I don't know what multiple weeks means. Is it 2? Is it 4? It's very vague, but he's out, at least for this series, I would assume. And if the Heat don't get it together, then we've seen the last of Jimmy Butler this season. So as much as I like Jimmy Butler, I hope it is the last we've seen of him this season, because I'd like for the Celtics to move on. Rozier is out. I don't know for how much longer, but that's your injury report for today. We went out of order. We're going to talk about turds. You got to have a turd to talk about. Come on. Turd of the day. Yesterday, here on the channel, we talk about players, coaches, organizations, anybody who chalked your slip, anybody who pissed you off. Was it a person at the store? Was it a person in the grocery store line who chalked your slip? I know for me personally, I know I didn't touch that Carl Anthony Towns taco, so I avoided that landmine. But I did have a few MLB plays that didn't come through. I think the biggest turd for me was the Grayson Rodriguez fantasy score prop that I played yesterday. He got absolutely crushed yesterday, and he never stood a chance. He didn't go over strikeout props. He didn't go over innings pitched or pitching outs. He definitely went over earned runs allowed, but he definitely did not go over his 32 fantasy score, which was grading out really well. Managed to give up 7 earned runs in less than 5 innings pitched. Actually, he did go over strikeout prop. I take that back. He did go over strikeouts, but wasn't enough to help him get over the 7 earned runs. Anthony Edwards, that's another turd. KD, yeah, KD is a little surprising. I thought we'd see a better performance from him. We talked about this on the stream yesterday. Thought he was in a good spot to do similar production damage as we saw in game 1. Trying to pull up the box score right now to have it in front of me. We talked about taking the unders on Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. I did say that if Bradley Beal got his shot volume up, he should go over this line. We took 17 shots yesterday. So first game, the problem was he didn't take any shots. He took 10 shots. That's not 0, but it's not enough. And so this game, he took 17 shots and he made 6. So he made the same amount of shots as he made in game 1, I believe. He just should have made more in game 2. So he fails to go over points. And then we talked about the under on Devin Booker. So the Suns look pretty bad as a team right now. It doesn't look like they want to even move on to the second round, honestly. But that's what you got in Phoenix right now. So you got Anthony Edwards on the other side. That was Jaden McDaniels was a gas turd unless you played his overs. I mean, he had a point prop of 9.5, 10.5. He scores 25. He leads the team in points, PRA, fantasy score. He led the team in shots. He took 17 shots. Anthony Edwards took 12. Our boy Carl Anthony Towns finished 3 of 7 from the field. He finished with more turnovers and more personal fouls than he did field goals made. So there's your taco for the day. Hope y'all avoided that Carl Anthony Towns taco. It was terrible. I don't understand why people voted for that. We did not like it here on the stream. My first, I don't even know who I wanted to win that one. Initially, I can't remember who were the options, but I think he was like second or third on that list. Just a terrible taco. Any other turds to talk about today? What's going on, Ruben? Jay Work, what's going on? Good morning. 2LA was here early this morning, top of the morning. Says yesterday was weird. Cashed a little. Lopez does respect the coin. What did you play for Lopez yesterday? I played the under on his rebounds and assists, and that worked out well. That guy does nothing. He's a 7'2" point guard, basically. He doesn't rebound. He doesn't dish. He's not even a point guard. That would make him a 2 guard. He just shoots. He scored 22 points. So I guess if you took the over on his PRA, I think he got that on point alone. But his rebounds and assists remain a target. His rebounds and assists have been a wagon if you take the under on that wagon. A wagon with 3 wheels is basically what his rebounds and assists are. So I'll keep targeting that unless they get to a point where they're scary low. But yesterday they were at 7.5. This man is a center and he didn't get 7.5 rebounds and assists. Luka did need 1 PRA. That was super tilting. That to me, I think that to me was more of a disappointment than the Karl Anthony Towns taco, because honestly, nobody likes Karl Anthony Towns. I don't like him as a basketball player, and I damn sure don't like him as a promo. Luka is super dependable, and honestly, he's a superstar in the league. So anytime you get a promo on him, it does pique your interest and you want to play it. For him to miss it by one is very, very tilting. And for him to miss it by one and him not go over rebound prop, right? We talked about his rebounds yesterday, over 9.5. I mean, if he would have got his rebound prop yesterday, he goes over his taco. But had he just gotten you one extra rebound, he would have went over his taco. So that was a little disappointing. I'm sure all they care about is the win. Kawhi comes back, the Clippers lose. What the fuck? Took the under on Paul George fantasy score. That worked out well. Harden looks good. I guess Harden is shaking off the playoff curse that he had in Houston, that he had in, you know, Brooklyn and Philly and wherever else he's played. He looks great. These first 2 games of the series, he looks fantastic. All right. Turds of the day. I'm done with turds of the day. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on into some positive news here. It does feel good to vent and get things off your chest. But we got plays to talk about today. We're going to try to answer about 20 player prop questions today. Won't go too long in the stream. Really going to try to tighten that up around 20 player props. So if you have a player prop you have your eyes on right now, let's just get right into it. We're going to transition over to the PrizePicks dashboard. Now, if you're new to the stream, if you're watching this for the first time, open up your ears real quick. We talk about player props on all pick'em sites. However, we do use the PrizePicks dashboard to navigate through the player props because it is the easiest one to do so. It does present better live stream, and it just looks better. It's cleaner. It's nicer. It's easy to flow. However, if you play on Underdog, if you play on Jock Market, if you play on Sleeper, wherever you play, throw your player prop in the chat. Tell me where you're playing, and then we'll research everything using props.cash. We've been using props.cash for a while here on the channel. If you've never used props.cash before, if you've never seen props.cash before, then you're in luck, because you're going to get a live tutorial on how to use it. If after watching this you want to sign up for props.cash services, do so. Use my promo code thanks25. It does give you 25% off your first month. Appreciate everybody who is actually using this code. I get the numbers every month, and I know people are taking advantage of this, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, let's head back to the PrizePicks dashboard. Now, I was working on a slip here. I'm glad that most of these are still, well, all of them are still on the board. If you want full access to all the picks that I like, all the picks that I try to play in slips, those are over in the Discord. We got a free sheet that we post out every single day, along with player write-ups and free plus EV plays. But if you want more than that, consider signing up to the premium Discord. 10-day pass, $9.99. Sign up for a month. You can sign up for a whole year if you want to. But if you just want to test it out, dip your toe in the water, 10-day pass, $9.99. You'll make your money back within the first 24 hours. It's not a guarantee, but it's very likely. All right. So here's some player props that I was looking at earlier. I left them up on the board because I've already researched a lot of these, but we'll pick a few from this list to research on live. The one that I just added in there that I haven't actually researched was the Spencer Arrighetti, because I was looking at the under on the strikeout props, and they don't have any under, they don't have any strikeout props for him to take an under on over on PrizePicks. So looking at the over on his hits allowed, just going to dig into that on props.cash today, facing the Cubs. And if it grades out well, I'd love putting at least one demon in a 6-pick flex, because it does boost that payout from a 25x to a 38x. And it does boost it even on the 5 out of 6. So instead of a double up, you're getting a quadruple up. Not bad. So if you put $5 on this one, you get 20 if 5 out of 6 hit. You get 190 if all 6 hit. If you got bank for days and you want to throw 50 on this, that's a $1,900 payout. That's a $200 payout if 5 out of 6 hit. All right. While I'm going through this, feel free to throw some questions, some player prop inquiries into the chat, and I'll just pop into the chat and see what we got going on, and we'll start adding them to the board. And then we'll start breaking these down, everybody. Appreciate y'all being here today. 16 views on the stream. We should have 16 likes according to my simple math here. Mitcho Medium, that's a new name. I don't believe I've seen you in the chat before, so welcome. I appreciate that. Stopping by. The Liga says turd of the day, Luka RA, Luka Taco also. Don't forget about that. Kyrie assist and Durant Goblin for 20 points. Man, Durant didn't hit his 20-point Goblin. Oof, that's rough. Yeah, what's going on, Yee? What's up, T? What's going on? All right. Got some props over in the chat. All right. So Chaz McCormick over total bases. This is in the same game with the Spencer Arrighetti. They don't really correlate. It's not a correlation stack. It just happens to be 2 players on the same team. Bam under 13 rebounds and assists. Corbin Carroll over his hitter fantasy score. Look, I got 2 guys in here that one we saw bounce back in this last game, and one we saw continue to struggle a little bit against this team. CD McCollum over points. He hit 20 last game. He needs 21 this game. Let's take a look at that one. And then Giddy over his 10.5 rebounds and assists, coming off just an awful game where he played 19 minutes in that game. I am a little bit hesitant on his props because of his minutes, but we know he is he at times can be a minute or a fantasy point PRA per minute guy. Rebounds and assists, we're getting this at a pretty low line, coming off a bad game. I do want to look at this one, and then we'll open it up and I'll start adding in your player prop questions. So let's go. Let's get this going. We're going to head over to props.cash. Again, if it is your first time checking this out, if you've never seen props.cash before, then you're about to get a live intro here. If you use another optimizer or use another resource for your research, that's all good. I don't discriminate. Whatever helps you win, whatever helps you get an edge, and whatever helps you become a smarter, better, that's all that matters. All right. I'm gonna pull up the CJ McCollum point prop at 20.5. First of all, if you're new to the stream, I'm going to use the first couple of player props to kind of walk you through how I start researching a player prop, where I start, and why I look at what I look at. And then I won't do that for every player prop because this would be a 3-hour stream if I did that. But when I pull up the number over on props.cash, you have a ton of information here. And I know what this can look like to a lot of people, because when I try to look at esports stats over matchups, I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? What does all this mean? I don't know. So I assume that if you're not used to this kind of information, you're in the same situation where you don't know what you're looking at. So let's help break it down so you can understand it better. 10-game log right here. You have all your player props here at the top that you can pick and choose from. Where I go is to the odds section down here. You typically have 4, maybe 5 sports books that are presented here at the bottom. And so what you're looking for Depending on if you're going for the under or over, you want the larger number to the left side, which is the over. If you want the over, if you're looking to play the under, you're looking for a larger number to be presented on the right side of this for the under. We can see that this particular prop for CJ McCollum is getting even odds on PointsBet, slight juice to the over on DraftKings and Caesar, as well as FanDuel. BetMGM does have this at 21.5, and they like the under at 21.5. We won't have to worry about that one because it's not that high on PrizePicks yet. But if it does get to that point on PrizePicks, then we do know we have representation towards the under. So maybe that's where you want to lean. Now, after I look at the odds, I do glance at the projections, but I don't pay too much attention to the projections because projections are subjective and they vary from site to site. Odds are going to weigh more because they're industry wide, they're market wide. So from here, now we start taking a look at the games. Based off what we know about the odds, most of the books like the over 20.5. We see that he hooked it first game here against OKC. 3 straight games of going under. We know that when Zion is out, McCollum does not typically benefit as much as he does when Brandon Ingram's out, which is why a lot of this production looks so beautiful. A lot of those games, Ingram was not in the lineup, so McCollum ate a little bit more. Up and down, up and down, up and down versus the OKC Thunder. If you strictly went by this logic, then he's due for a game to go over. Under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. That's not the best strategy, but that's kind of what we're seeing here. So if the trend holds true, then McCollum is due for 21 plus points today. I do like him for a bounce back. I do like the fact that we saw him get out of his little 2-game slump where he scored less than 10 points in back-to-back games. We saw his minutes increase game over game. We saw his shot volume increase over these past 2 games. And we saw his field goals made, his shots made double up, triple up over the last 2 games. So if we think this continues, we can see CJ McCollum going 11 for 22, something like that. Another bucket gets him the over. So I like the fact that we're already in the neighborhood and simply need just 1 extra point to go over this. If he just gives you similar performance that he gave you in game 1, plus 1 basket, he goes over this line. Doesn't matter if it's by 0.5 or 15. Who gives a shit? It's over. So I like the over on this one. I'm willing to throw this in a flex. I think this is in a good spot. And I can feel I have like a fuzz on my eye and I can't find it. All right. Josh Giddey. So Josh Giddey has not been, I don't know. Josh Giddey had a lot of ups and downs this season where he looked like an all-star, then he looked like a G Leaguer, and past 2 games he's looked pretty bad in terms of overall production. PRA has been PRA has been okay in terms of just 1 up, 1 down. But a lot of that PRA production is coming from the RA in that game that he did go over. You can see that he got you 14 rebounds and assists, got you 8 points. So 14 out of 22 PRA he got you came from rebounds and assists. I feel much more confident in his rebounds and assists than I do his points. You have too many guys on this team that can eat, and when they're all healthy, we've seen Josh Giddey take a back seat. Now, where he is impactful is with the rebounds and assists. So getting his line at 10.5 feels like a low line to me. He is projected for 12. When we take a look at the odds, we can see that on FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, BetMGM, and PointsBet basically all have this in favor of the over. BetMGM is the only one that isn't minus to the over. But 4 out of 5 books like this at odds of minus 130, basically averaging 130 per book. So you're getting positive projections, you're getting positive odds. Up until last game, you had positive game logs versus the New Orleans Pelicans. So there are a lot of things to like about this, and it does make me feel like he just had a bad game. Now, if he goes out there and has another bad game and we see him play another 19 or fewer minutes, it might be time to just pump the brakes on Josh Giddey right now. But I'm willing to take a shot on this one at a 10.5 line. I think it's a little too low. So I'll gladly play the over on his RA while it's at 10. If it gets bumped up to 11, 11.5, I don't know, man. I hate playing bumps. But those are two NBA players that I like that I didn't want to break down for you. I think they're in good spots. MLB, I do want to look at this Spencer Arrighetti 4.5 hits allowed versus the Cubs. I made a joke in Discord the other day about Yordan Alvarez, and I said he is the real life version of Pedro Serrano from Major League. Have y'all seen the movie Major League? It's super old, like way old, like 1992, I think it came out. So maybe some of you weren't even born. Y'all were still a little sperm cell in your daddy's nutsack. But Major League is a great movie. And Pedro Serrano is a guy who couldn't hit curveballs, but when he made contact, they went really far. And you see Yordan go 0 for 4, 0 for 5 the next game, hits a home run, then goes 0 for 4, 0 for 5, then goes 4 for 5 the next game. He's like the real life version of Pedro Serrano. So we got Spencer Arrighetti pulled up here. Astros got hammered yesterday, 7-2 by the Cubs. JP France got absolutely wrecked. So Cubs coming off a nice game here. We're looking at his hits allowed because that's the only prop that we have that I feel is worth a dive into. Now, 2 starts this season, he did give up 7 hits against the Royals and gave up 4 against the Braves. We don't have a big sample size here. He's projected for roughly 5 hits allowed. Looking at his demon is at 4.5. Now, PrizePicks has his demon at 4.5. This guy's line is at 4.5. So you're not getting an increase in line, you're just getting an increase in payout. Projection is favorable. The odds are all in favor of the under. The reason I'm willing to take a look at this one is how the Cubs have been playing and how they play the Astros. And we've seen pitchers get roughed up pretty early on. The fact that he's not also projected for a ton of strikeouts today, so minus 148 to the under on 5.5 strikeouts. That's closer to 4 than it is to 5. So if this guy's not out there striking people out, the only thing that would hurt this if he gets pulled early, if he only pitches 4 innings, now you have to ask yourself, can this guy give up 5 hits in 4 innings? I think he can. But if the pitching staff, if the pitching coach decides that he's had enough and yanks him in the 3rd inning, I would think that if you're getting pulled before 4 innings, you've given up some production and you've given up more than 5 hits. So I like the way this is playing out. I'd be willing to put this in a 6 pick or a 5 pick flex to boost my payout. I would not put it in a power play where you have to get everything correct, but I think it's worth a shot. Just like Ben Lively's strikeouts yesterday at 5.5 versus the Boston Red Sox. He finished with 7. That was a great demon if you play that one. Also, the over on Ben Lively and Tanner Houck combo strikeouts was my write-up of the day yesterday. They finished with 11. Play at 9. So another win for the write-ups. But you can look for these demon props. Do have to do a little research on them, but it doesn't hurt to put one or two in your lineups or in your slips if they're going to help you win more money. So those are three I wanted to break down and share with you all. I still do like the over on Chavez McCormick total bases. I like the under on Bam's 13 rebounds and assists. I don't know if he still get his points at 18.5. I do like the under on that one as well. I'm all under on the Heat right now. I know they're going to have a good game at some point, but until they do, aside from Jaime Jaquez, who is basically the best player on his damn team right now without Jimmy Butler, you would not think that, but he's looked like that in the playoffs. Yeah, until I see something different, I'm willing to still take the unders on guys like Bam. Eric Giddy over his hits, Corbin Carroll over his fantasy. We just talked about Giddy over here, like the over on CJ McCollum, 20.5 points. Should I just throw that in a slip? Yeah, let's just throw it in a slip. Because as soon as I clear the screen, I don't want to have to go back and put them all back on the board if I want to play it later. So just throw it in a slip, put $5 on it. If it hits, great. Even 5 out of 6 is good. All right. What say you? Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. I just spent the last 15, 20 minutes or so breaking down 3 plays. If you want to go ahead and play those, you can. Hopefully you were paying attention to the breakdowns. If not, it does not hurt my feelings whatsoever. Let's get this going. First play that I see on the board is an NHL play from my man T. Looking at Jamie Benn over his shots on goal. Now, this is a demon prop. We'll take a look at this over on props.cash. What's going on? Yeah, I said what's up to you already. Yeah. Okay. Better, I'd rather say what's up twice than not say what's up at all. So, all right. We got Tatum over his assist from Ruben. We got Tatum assist, Brunson assist, regular lines on PrizePicks. Do look good, says La Liga. Taking the over on Tatum's assists have been bumped up to 6. Can also look to the under on his points. Brunson has been struggling. Knicks look good though. That's got to feel really, really good when the best player on your team is not having top performances and you're still winning games because other players are stepping up. So when Brunson is on point, Knicks in the second round might be a very, very tough matchup. Brunson's assist at 6.5. I'm assuming this one didn't get bumped up. Yeah, Abrams did clear his line. After that game got delayed, they came back and he got another hit. What did he get? A hit? He got 3 hits yesterday. I know he had 6. He was on 6 for a while. Three hits, man. Dodgers took care of business. James Paxton looked like shit. James Paxton and Patrick Corbin combined for 4 strikeouts. Taking the under on their strikeout prop, I think, was at 10. That would have been a great one. We talked about Patrick Corbin getting beat up yesterday. He did. But he did go over innings pitched by 1 damn out. That's so bad. Other than that, he didn't really do a whole lot. LA says Colin just keeps getting worse from what we've seen at the end of the season. He is banned. What was the point prop last game? I don't know what his point prop was last game. Was it over 20? Was it 21.5? The NBA culture has a tendency to overrate a lot of players. Really, they do. I don't know how many players are in the NBA right now. Like, there are 30 teams. There's like 12 men on the roster. 360 players in the NBA. Honestly, out of 300, let's just say 340 players, really, how many of them are great? Truly, truly great. Like 10, 15 are great. But if you listen to the media and if you just read NBA Twitter and everything, you would assume that like everybody in the NBA is great when they're just good. I think CJ McCollum is good. I don't think he's great though. There are a lot of players that are in that great category that aren't. Great is so overused now. Everybody's fucking great. And it just kind of muddies the waters, and then you get caught up in that. I don't think CJ McCollum is a great player. I think he's good. It's not even really a hot take. It might be for some people. Chet over 3-pointers made. I mean, just look at the NBA draft. Look, year after year after year, the college system, the G League system keeps pumping out these overrated ass players, man. Come on, give me a break. Jalen Green, that's your second pick in the NBA draft. Really? What? He had a resurgence this season because Sengun gets hurt, but okay, it took an injury to the best player on their team for him to actually take the next step. Really? But great. Just look at the draft year over year over year. And those are the players that you're calling great. I hate seeing Zion hurt this season because his biggest issue was his health. And he looked so good this season. He played in a lot of games. And of all the times to get hurt, he gets hurt in the playoffs. Like, maybe he's just still too damn big. Maybe he did lose a lot of weight, but he's still too goddamn big. And you can't be moving 270 pounds, you know, like a point guard. At some point, your body just can't handle that. I mean, he got hurt. He got hurt on a drive to the basket. It wasn't like he got fouled, or it wasn't like he got cheap shot. It wasn't like Draymond Green punched him in the neck or something. I like the Joe Ryan play too, La Liga. I think LeBron James is one of the few players we've seen with that big of a frame that's able to move like that. And he's done it for 20 years. I think he's gotten bigger as he's gotten older also. What happened to Blake Griffin? Blake Griffin was a beast and his body just couldn't hold up. So I feel like those injuries happen all the time. Those really, really explosive players that move like a point guard and then get hurt. At some point, it's just going to happen. Trying to find another play for a player we haven't talked about yet. Peyton Pritchard. Joe Ryan got bumped to 7 Ks. Really? 2LA says CJ McCollum's best line is steals and blocks. Over or under? Oh, what's up, Jay Work? We talked about Shea yesterday under his 11.5 rebounds and assists, right? At the time of looking it up, I didn't realize that it was a Wednesday game. But it's still on the board at the same line. Let's pull up the Peyton Pritchard line. Ooh. Peyton Pritchard, I'm assuming points or 3-pointers. If he gets you 2 threes, that's 6 points. If you like the over on his points, he needs 8. It's very possible that he hits the over on points and threes alone. Let's look at his points because that's inclusive of his 3-pointers made. And he might have a nice little correlation with Tatum and Pritchard. I don't know how much floor time they get together, so it may not be correlation at all. But in the event that they are on the floor together, it could work out to your advantage if you wanted to pair them up. But let's do it. Let's go over to props.cash. We're going to start off with this NHL Jamie Benn shots over goal at 2.5. Now, this is a demon play, so you are getting a payout boost on this one. All right. So Jamie Benn back-to-back games. One playoff game here. Seven shots on goal in this first playoff game. If you just want to look at the last 5 games in terms of how the regular season ended, it does have one game in there against the Blues where he did go over 4. Prior to that, he had 3 straight games of under 2 shots on goal. Now, his odds today are not favorable for the over. You're getting 3 books that do like the under with heavy juice, 135 or higher. Projection today is 2.79. Head-to-head numbers against the Vegas Knights. Up until this playoff game here, he had 1 game, and then the rest of these are just a little low. He is capable of 3 or more, but at least over the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, he's gone 2 out of 7. We've seen some low shot on goal numbers, like McKinnon. McKinnon didn't get over 3 yesterday. That was surprising. Or maybe not. Maybe you know hockey better than a lot of people. Maybe you see it coming. But for a guy like McKinnon to have such a low shot on goal volume yesterday was a little surprising to me. Now we got Jamie Benn here is getting pretty negative odds here, although the projections do like it. I mean, you could play it in a slip if you wanted to throw it in a flex because of the payout boost. But I wouldn't play this one in a power play because you need all of them correct to get paid. Shots on goal versus Vegas. You had 3 for Robertson. You had 3 for Marchment. I mean, all 3 of the left wings for Dallas went over. Any one of those numbers, 3 or 7, gets you the over today, right? So you could just look at it like, hey, look, playoffs is a new season. Fuck the regular season. That doesn't matter anymore. We're talking playoffs. First game, all left wings went over their shot on goal prop, or went over this shot on goal prop of 2.5. You want to take it back to the regular season? You got Alex Killorn over his shots on goal for Anaheim. You had Druin over his shots on goal for Colorado. You got Kaprizov over his shots on goal. So you do have players from different teams throughout the course of the regular season that have gone over shots on goal versus Vegas. So it's not impossible. So again, if you want to take the over on his shots on goal as a demon and just look at the playoffs as a new season, you can do that. All right, where are we starting in the NBA? Because we got 5 NBA plays to take a look at. We got Tatum and Pritchard in the same game. We got Chet and Shea in the same game. And then we have Brunson. Let's start with Brunson's assist because he's the only player that we don't have a partner for on the same team. So let's pull up him, and then we'll move to the Celtics, and then we'll move to the Thunder, or vice versa. Doesn't matter. Appreciate y'all being here, though. Hit that like button on your way in, or if you've heard enough, hit it on the way out. Appreciate you stopping by. Take a look at Jalen Brunson's assist at 6.5. We are getting favorable game logs here. Now, this does go back to the regular season, so 10 games to look at here, 80% hit rate. We go look at the odds down here. We can see that they are favored for the under on DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, BetMGM, and PointsBet. So all 5 books like the under on Jalen Brunson's assists, while his projections are closer to 7. They're getting a little bit of conflicting information here. First 2 games versus Philadelphia, he 1 for 1 or 1-1, going for 7 in the first game, then going for 6 in the second game. But his scoring changed at all from game over game? A little bit. He struggled early on scoring and found his rhythm dishing and racking up assists. But in game 2, scored two extra points, played a few minutes less, took way more shots, but made exactly the same. So field goal percentage went down in game 2, but he's still shooting over 25 times and he's making around 8. So what I'm getting at here is that he took a more aggressive approach to score yesterday, or in game 2. We're already on game 3. Holy shit. So he took a more aggressive scoring approach. So maybe there's some correlation there. And I just realized this game is tomorrow. We're looking at props for tomorrow. So maybe there's some correlation there. When he wants to take a more aggressive approach, he's not really worried about racking up assists. I guess if you feel like his scoring gets more aggressive as the series goes on, if he starts taking higher shots in a game, he's not really looking to dish. So maybe his assists are suffering as a result. Based off the odds and what we're seeing from all these books, that could be a reason why they're looking to go under on his assists. Where is points being projected? DraftKings likes the over, Caesars likes the over, and BetMGM likes the over. So you got 3 out of 5 books that really like the over on his points at 28.5. These other 2 books already have his point at 29.5. So yeah, it feels like they're expecting him to score more and maybe leave some of those assist opportunities to guys like DiVincenzo or Hart. So maybe you look to take the over on his points versus the over on his assist. He struggled a lot in that first game. So if this is one of those situations where he's just getting better and better each game, like game 1 was a struggle, game 2 is a little bit better, now game 3 is going to be way better. Maybe he's just more aggressive and you see him put up 30 plus in that game. All right, let's talk about Tatum's assist, sitting at 6 right now. If you can still find it at 5.5, it's going to be your best line. It's getting -142 odds to go over on FanDuel. DraftKings likes it. Caesars likes it. PointsBet also likes the over at 5.5. Now at 6, we don't have a line. BetMGM has it up at 6.5 with -175 to the under and -155 to the over. What is that? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that he doesn't dish out 10 assists again. I'm just saying. We always talk about this. What comes up must come down. What goes down must come back up. Right now, this is about as high as you can get for assist. On the year, Jason Tatum has 1 game, 2 games with 10 assists, 2 games with 9, 2 games with 8, but the majority of his assists are in that 7-5 range. Kind of where he lives on the year. He's a 5 assists per game guy. So he's playing a little bit over his head now. But just because he doesn't get you 10 assists doesn't mean he can't get you 6. So what I'm saying is don't expect 10. There is some room for regression. If he does regress, as long as he doesn't regress under 6, you're fine. He is projected for 6.29. So that is right at the line that you wanted at. So again, I do expect regression, but he'd have to have a terrible game or get benched to not get you 5 or 6 assists. I know 5 doesn't help you, but I mean, you're talking anything under 5, that's just a terrible game for him. Or he's just going off and scoring 50 points and not caring about addition. But yeah, while you can find it at 5.5, it's definitely in play. If you want to play it at 6, it's also in play because he still needs 6 to get you over 5.5. At 6, he needs 7 assists. But if you're okay with the push possibility, then play it at 6. No Jimmy Butler though, right? I mean, that defense is still good. That zone is a bitch, but without Jimmy on the floor, it is a bit of a different team. Peyton Pritchard over his points or over his 3-pointers made. Last game out, Peyton Pritchard played 24 minutes. It could have been a lot more than that had the Celtics been able just to keep that lead in that 30-point range or even 20, 25 points. Had they been able to hold off the Heat, you probably would have seen more run for Peyton Pritchard in the second half. But he got you 8 points last game. He got you 2 threes made. That gets you over his line. Two for 5. He took 7 shots. 5 of those were 3. 2 for 5 from 3. Now, his odds don't look good in terms of his 3-pointers made. You're getting heavy juice to the under on all these books. If you just think this line is too low, if you think he shoots better from the field than 2 for 5 from 3, then this one is really appealing to you. If you just want to say, I'm going to play it safe and go with the points, he can score from anywhere on the floor. It's free throws, it's threes, it's inside the 3, it's drive and get fat, whatever scenario you want to paint up. There's more opportunity for him to score 8 points. The only way you can score 3-pointers is by shooting 3-pointers. And if you're missing all your 3-pointers, then you don't score any. So figure out which side you want to go with, but you are getting better odds to the over for his points. You got PointsBet that likes the over, BetMGM that likes the over, DraftKings likes the over. FanDuel is slightly under, but not by a ton. He's projected for 17 points today. He's projected for 17 points and 2 threes made. So I don't know about that one. I don't know if he scores 17 points today. If Peyton Pritchard scores 17 points today, one of 2 things happen. Number one, somebody in the starting lineup got hurt that you don't want to get hurt if you're a Celtics fan. Or 2, the Celtics are up by 30 to 40 points, and this time they hold the lead, and Peyton Pritchard's out there for the entire second half. Unless those 2 things happen, it's hard for me to see him outplaying a starter and getting the run to do 18 plus points. But I think 7.5 is in play. I wish you were getting a demon prop on his 1.5 threes. That'd be worth taking a risk on. All right, let's talk about Chet Holmgren over his threes made. He looked good. I love this little battle we got going on between Chet and Valanciunas. That's what pisses me off about Valanciunas. Not even Valanciunas, about Willie Green. I mean, Valanciunas can play. He can produce. He can be unguardable at times based off the matchup. And then he'll play like 5 minutes in a game for Larry Nance. I don't understand that shit. But I'm not an NBA coach, so I'm not smart like that. But He's a double-double every game if you give him the minutes. He must. I wonder if he just has like a really shitty attitude, or if he's just like a bad teammate or something like that. I'm just trying to figure out reasons why you wouldn't play a guy like this. When he is getting time, he's crushing his line. I hope we get another performance like that from him today. Let's look at Chet's threes. So we like the over on his threes sitting at -118. The over on FanDuel, while DraftKings likes it a little bit more at -120. Caesars -123 with a little juice to the under. Let me pull that up real quick so you can see the odds right here. BetMGM and PointsBet all like the over. The only book that's not giving you juice to the under is DraftKings. So if you have access to DraftKings, if you have access to any of these books, this is also in play on the books. He is projected for 1.25 threes made. So he's projected for the under on his three, but we got better odds. And I always say side with the odds over the projections. Minutes look good. Last game played 32 minutes. Just a big difference from the way the regular season ended. You know, they were just monitoring minutes. I think he even got hurt in one of those games where he didn't finish the game. You get 30 plus minutes from Chet Holmgren today, 32 plus minutes from Chet today. I think he's going to put up another good PRA line. We're getting positive odds on his threes. If you want to look at his fantasy score today when they drop, I don't think you need to expect 6 steals and blocks. But if he gets you anywhere between 3 and 4 today, that's 9 to 12 points. I think his fantasy score is in play. As long as it's not some crazy Luka Jokic type of number, I think you can look to play his fantasy score because he just brings so much with the steals and blocks. And honestly, 3 turnovers is not a lot. That's 1 steal or 1 block. So that's the benefit of having multiple steals and blocks, is it does cover up for some turnovers, and he's not really turning the ball over a whole lot. So he's just averaging 2 turnovers a game on the season. But yeah, if you like his threes, play his threes. I think they're in play. If you feel like he's going to have another good game, look to leverage everything he can do by taking the over on his fantasy score. All right, Shea under his rebounds and assists. Now, we talked about this yesterday because the question was any good Shea lines. And I didn't really have anything outside of the rebounds and assists, only because he typically doesn't go over 12. For as good of a scorer as he is and for as talented as he is, he's not really grabbing a whole lot of rebounds and assists at the same time. And he's not really racking up a lot of double-doubles. So he is very scoring centric, but when you factor in everything after it's all said and done, his PRA line is always good and his fantasy points are always there because he is capable of, you know, steals and blocks every single game. But looking at his RA, this one gets bumped down to 11 at some point today. You got the under on FanDuel, slight over on DraftKings. You got the under on Caesars, under on PointsBet, and slight over on BetMGM, but at 10.5. So they are really towing that line for the over on BetMGM at 10.5. When this gets bumped up to 11.5 on BetMGM, you're probably going to see similar odds to these other books. So I think over the course of the day, depending on how the books play it, if we start to see those odds shift in favor of the under on some of these books even more, I think on the pick'em sites is when you see that line get dropped down to 11, and then you have to make a decision. Because at 11, you start looking at some push potential here. $11.5 is your best line. If you want to roll with the under on that one, you got supporting data in terms of the odds, and you also have supporting data in terms of projections. It's nice when they correlate like that. And then you also have positive game logs that support the under. So I don't think you are making a mistake by taking his under. So we got the over on Pritchard points. You could also look the over on his threes if you want to roll that way. Under on under on Shay's rebounds and assists. Over on Chet, 3-pointers made. And while we have him up on the board, let's see what his fantasy score is today. Bitch, you know what I'm talking about. I don't see a fantasy score for Chet Holmgren yet. So keep your eyes open for that one. But right now, we like the over on his threes. Brunson assists. I think you really do have to ask yourself a question. This is for tomorrow, but I think you have to ask yourself, what is he going to do tomorrow in terms of his scoring? Is he more aggressive? If he's going to take more shots, how much room does that leave for him to actually dish? When the ball's in his hands, if he's taking a shot, you cannot take a shot and get an assist at the same time. So he's either doing one or the other. So ask yourself what he's doing more of. And that's the way I will go with his assist. We still like the over on Tatum's assist at 6, even though they got bumped up. And Jamie Benn is the only demon we have in his lineup. He did get you 7 shots on goal his first game against the Knights. But remember, all 3 left wings versus this team last game got you 3 or more shots on goal. So that is a demon. But if you throw it in a flex, it is a nice payout boost, and you can use it to your advantage. Even if this doesn't hit and the other 5 do hit, you still get more money for your wins than you would normally. So consider putting a demon in your slips. As long as it positively correlates and it works to your advantage and they're not stupid, reckless demons, then I don't think there's anything wrong with playing a demon prop. All right. Boom. Let's clear this out. If you're just joining the stream, we just broke down our second round of player props. I built a slip out earlier. I'll throw that over in the Discord when we're done here. Talked about injury news. We talked about our turds of the day. Got quite a bit done today. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Why not Pritchard PA? I don't have anything against this PA, but his points were the ones that were asked about in the chat. I like Caleb Martin also over his points, but he scares me because of that last performance. Jesus says play Brunson on sleeper. He is a free square. Really? We're gonna get to the bottom of this, Jesus. Don't be fucking lying to me, man. Hey, he is. 0.5 points. Yeah, play him on sleeper. For sure. Play the over, okay? Let's be specific here. Play the over 0.5 points for Jalen Brunson today. That's a pretty good value. Let's see. Kevin Love rebounds without Jimmy and Terry. Jesus also likes Kevin Love PRA and his points alone. We got some Larry Nance love in here at 6.5 points. Jovic over 2.5 first quarter points. Man, those first quarter points are coming back to bite me in the ass, man. Dude gets a foul trouble, picks up 2 fouls. Forget about it. But when they hit, though, that's a fun hit, right? Because it's done. It's like instant gratification. You're like, fuck yeah, cash me out. Oof, but when they don't hit, ooh, that's a long first quarter, man. All right, let's pull up Kevin. Kevin Love is not even on the board right now. Caleb Martin at 7.5 points today. Yeah, I was looking at this earlier. It does scare me a lot, and not because of his last performance, but because of the way Jaquez is playing right now. And I know Caleb Martin was the darling of the playoffs last season, but this is not last season. And I think the Miami coaching staff sees what they have in Jaquez. I mean, Jaquez was a dominant ball handler. He was driving. He was trying to draw contact. He was going right at Jason Tatum. He is not scared of anybody on that Celtics team. There were 2 plays that they just literally let him drive and lay it up. Like, they didn't even try to get in front of him. So I don't know what's going on with their defense. But Jaquez is, when he has the ball in his hands, he's looking to score first. Then he's looking to pass. He's not trying to get teammates involved. And so when you have a guy like that, I feel like if he has the green light to shoot and make plays, what does that leave for the rest of the guy on the team that aren't named Bam Adebayo or Tyler Hero? So that's why I'm scared of Caleb Martin today. It's more so of what the other guys on the team are doing versus what he's doing. But he is grading out really well in a lot of places for the over on his points. Larry Nance Jr. Damian says he's a defensive liability, hasn't blocked a shot in like 7 to 8 games. He just can bully Chet, nothing more. Oh, gotcha. So that's why you're thinking that he doesn't get the playing time in some of these games. That makes sense, man. That makes sense. That actually makes more sense than him just not being liked by the coaching staff, because if you follow his career, even in Toronto, you saw a lot of the same sort of coaching around him where he would play limited minutes. And you see that a lot with him. I think even in Memphis, we saw that happen a little bit. Hey, Sue said, Pritchard has an alternate line on Sleeper for 1 3-pointer made. Would be a nice pick for a double instead of a 3x. Jalen Williams, 23.5 PR over, and Sean Mania, 4.5 Ks over. What's going on, Vu? Good morning. Jaime Jaquez rebounds and assists under on PrizePicks. Peyton Pritchard, PA. Free pair with Shea under blocks and steals. PA, not RA. Why? I thought I was reading RA at first. I'm just reading the chat, everybody. I'm just trying to scroll up, make sure I didn't miss a ton. Where did we leave off? Okay. What about Valencia Valanciunas? 11.5 rebounds. Valencia Valanciunas. Like the orange, the Valencia orange? Or was that your phone just thinking they're smarter than you? I didn't look at his rebounds, to be honest. I don't think it was a fluke, but I think he's capable of 10 rebounds, but to get 12, 13 every game is, and you are asking a lot of a player. Took Jonas alternate. Okay, so 2LA says he took Jonas alternate at 10 rebounds, but his double-double was better odds. Yeah, because I think he could definitely get you 10. But to get 12, I mean, that's a 2 rebound difference. That's a lot. You wouldn't think it's a lot, but in the event he does play fewer minutes or foul trouble and he only gets you 10, double still in play, right? He only needs 10 and 10. I think his double is the way to go if you can find his double. Maybe you play the over double for him and Peyton Pritchard. Wasn't there a Peyton Pritchard sleeper prop that y'all liked in chat? His threes. What's going on? K Bills. DeLon Wright, 1.5 blocks and steals. DeLon Wright has been all right. Terrible joke. DeLon Wright has been all right. I think if you say it with more conviction, then it becomes a good like punchline. It's all about the delivery. That guy hit like 5 threes in a row. Wasn't it some weird shit in the fourth quarter where like they just kept letting him come down the court, set his feet and shoot? I'm like, what are y'all doing? Sometimes, man, Joe Mazzulla, I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Him and his passive aggressive ass fucking interviews. That's Popovich shit right there. Getting all ornery and shit with the sideline reporters and shit. Then let the team go out there and give up a 30-point lead. I miss Ime. All right, let's pull up this Shea real quick. Porzingis under fantasy. Man, it's already 10:09. All right, we're gonna wrap this up real quick. What's his fantasy score? 36. I hate looking at the last 5 game logs, but for fantasy score, I think it is helpful because it's just right there. You don't have to do any math to figure out what he did last game. But just to simply look at the last 5 on PrizePicks and go, oh yeah, under, or yeah, over. Don't recommend that strategy for any player prop. Use it as a start to your research. All right, let's start our research for the last block of player props. If I didn't get to your player prop and I already answered one of your player props, be happy. It's going to be a good day. And I am trying to get as many player props in as I can from different folks. So that's why I skip around and I try to find people who are chiming in for the first time. Has to be inclusive. All right, so we got I'm just gonna go over the 6 that we have. We got Martin over points, Larry Nance over points, Jaquez under 8.5 rebounds and assists, Peyton Pritchard over 10.5 points and assists, DeLon Wright over blocks and steals, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander under his blocks and steals. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 dudes from the same game in the Boston-Miami game. That is where we are going to start. We're going to knock out 4 out of the 6 player props we have here. Then we're going to talk about Larry Nance and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So let's go. Appreciate you being here today. Hope your Wednesday is going well. Hit that like button on your way in. All right. We're getting monster odds to the under here at -142 over on FanDuel, 120 DraftKings, 129 Caesars, 140 PointsBet, and split odds over on BetMGM. He did get you 8 versus split odds on BetMGM at 7.5. So when this finally gets adjusted to 8.5, it's going to be in favor of the over. I'm pretty sure of it. Last game against the Celtics, he got you 8. Big difference between playing the Chicago Bulls and the Boston Celtics. Big difference there. 8 is a good number, you know. He got you 8 points and then got you 8 rebounds and assists and got you 16 points. That's 24 PRA. That's a pretty damn good day. Didn't turn the ball over a whole lot. Got you a steal. That's a pretty solid day from your starting rookie. So I expect a similar stat line. And I think the under on his RA is in play. Jaquez saw 36 minutes, and I don't think the game being separated by 30 points at one point really impact. He sat the bench. That was his normal rotation, and he got right back in. So you're not seeing his production getting depressed because the Celtics are, out to a big lead. He's on the floor. So the fact that he got you 8 rebounds and assists with his full run is promising. It's possible he played more minutes this game for sure, but a lot of dudes out there competing for rebounds and assists. So I like the under, and you are getting support from the books on this one. The projections like the over, but we always talk about when you are deciding between the odds and the projections, the odds have more weight because that is market based. That is across all industry. All right. Peyton Pritchard, points and assists, 10.5. If Peyton Pritchard has a good shooting night, do you think it's possible for him to get the over on points and assists on points alone? Got you 5 assists last game. How did I know that before even looking at his game log? It's magic. So he needs 11 today. So if Peyton Pritchard goes out there and gives you a similar performance, that's 13. But let's say he gets you 8 points and then he has a little bit of regression with his assist. And let's say he gets you 3 assists today. That's what he's averaging on the year. That's still 11. So there is room for some regression here, and there's still room for the over for Peyton Pritchard. In terms of his odds, you're getting minus 118 odds over on DraftKings, 127 for the over on Caesars, 120 on BetMGM, and 120 on PointsBet. All 4 of these books do have a tad of juice, a drip of juice to the under, but I think you still have more data in favor of the over on this one. So play it. Play it. DeLon Wright, over blocks and steals and blocks. S&B, sugar and boogers. DeLon Wright over 1.5 sugars and boogers. Last game out against the Celtics, he did get you 2. He's on a 5-game hit streak here. Over his last 10 games, 70%. But let's count this up. 10, 12, 14, 17, 21 blocks and steals in the last 10 games. He's getting his hands on a lot of balls out there. That was funny. That was well played. Projected for 1.94 blocks and steals today. So you are getting favorable projections. You have very favorable game logs here. Unfortunately, we are not getting as much love from the books, with 2 of them liking the under, but there is a little juice to the over. So it is not unanimous under. It is just favoring the under. So on these types of plays, you have to make a decision because you're not going to get enough information from these books for it to be clear, right? So you got to ask yourself, am I going to roll with the game logs and the projections here, or am I going to listen to the odds and the books and say I'm going to go under? That is entirely up to you. For me, I think the over is in play because with the injuries to the backcourt, we're seeing DeLon Wright play in the 20s. If he gets you 23 to 25 minutes again, You know the Celtics will turn the ball over. I don't give a damn how much talent they have on that team. Turnovers plague them every season, especially in the playoffs. And you got guys like Jaylen Brown that just turn the shit over all the goddamn time. Jason Tatum can get, all those guys can get very careless with the ball. So it is not far-fetched to think that DeLon Wright can go out there and get you 2 steals. So I think this is playable in a flex. I think this is playable in a flex. We're going to take a look at Larry Nance's points at 6.5. So right off the bat, you're seeing very positive game logs here. I love the fact that we're getting his points at such a low line, because even if Valanciunas goes out there and has a good game, this is not a high line at all for Nance to go over. 4 straight games, including 1 game versus OKC where he did go over. Now again, this game is today, right? Yeah. I was thinking the Knicks game is tomorrow. Even with the positive game for Valanciunas, Larry Nance did get you 19 points. 19 points is a fair amount of time for Larry Nance to get you 7 points. I think figuring out how he's getting those points is very important. 4 for 6 from the field. He didn't take any threes, but he is capable of making a 3 or 2. Needs 7 points. Okay, so if he's going to give you 6 shots, that means he needs to make all of them, right? No, excuse me. If he's gonna give you 6 shots, he needs to make 4 of them. No, all of them will be 12. All of them would also help if he made all of the shots at 6 shots. Yeah, he gets over. But yeah, if he shoots 6 times, he needs to make 4 of them. So you don't worry about how many shot attempts he takes. I think it's just easier to say, in order for him to get the over on this one, Larry Nance needs to make 4 shots today. You're getting positive projections here, and you're also getting positive odds across these 4 books. So I think Larry Nance is in play. I think the fact that we saw Valanciunas have a really good game in game 1, and Larry Nance still managed to go over points is a positive for us. So it does show that there is room for him to actually go over his line when somebody else is having a good game. Now, if Valanciunas goes out there and struggles, then you could expect him to blow by this line. So if you want to lock this in right now as a way to secure the value, and you think Valanciunas might have a drop off, I mean, without Zion in there, Larry Nance does stand to produce more in that situation. Last play of this player block, we're going to take a look at SGA under his 2.5 blocks and steals. He has gone under this in 4 straight games. He has gone under this in 6 out of his last 7 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Projection is 2.35. That is closer to 2 than it is to 3. And you're not getting a whole lot of love to either side on these 2 books. So Caesars has it split. BetMGM has it split. So really what we're looking at here is projections and game logs, because the odds in the books aren't really helping us a whole lot right now. Great thing about these steals and blocks props is that you very rarely see them get bumped up or down. They'll just be taken off the books, if anything. So as long as it's up, I think the under is in play. But it would be more helpful if we did get something better than split odds on 2 books. We forgot to look at Caleb Martin, right? Caleb Martin is a forgettable person. He's probably a nice guy, but I just forgot about him right now. Okay, 4 points in the first game against the Celtics. Caleb Martin played 29 minutes. The guy only took 6 shots. Now, in order for him to go over his point prop at 6 shots, he needs to make 4 of those 6 shots. Similar line to Larry Nance, where he needs to make 4 shots today. He's gotten you 4 or more in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games when looking at this versus Boston. Over his last 10 games, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10 games. So 40% hit rate, getting you 4, making you 4 more shots. Again, he just had a very poor shooting night. He never got in a rhythm. It's hard to get in a rhythm when you're only taking 6 shots. I wouldn't expect more than 9 from him or 10. But if he takes 9 shots today, he still just needs to make 4. Throw in a free throw. Maybe he knocks down a 3. He'll get there faster than you think. But that's the only thing that scares me, is just the usage of the other players on his team, not necessarily this. This 3 games in a row does not concern me at all. Over on FanDuel, over on DraftKings, over on Caesars, and over on PointsBet, you got 4 books that like the over, but at 8.5, BetMGM is heavy on the under. And in terms of its projections today, Caleb Martin is projected to get you 10 points. I wouldn't be surprised if he got you 10 points. On a play like this, I wouldn't. If I'm not playing the over, I'm not touching it. I'm not playing the under on this one. I'm not trying to get cute. So if you have any reservations on this one, just don't play it. There are plenty of plays out there to play the under on. You don't have to go get cute with Caleb Martin's points. All right. And Caleb Martin got bumped up to 8. So there you go. That's a good thing, though, because it's telling you that you're on the right track. If you already put this in at 7.5, then you got to feel good about it because you locked in value. I wouldn't be surprised if this one got bumped right back down to 7.5. We see it happen all the time. But now he needs 9 points. So maybe you just stay away from it now. Or you play it at 9, or you play it at 8 because you think he gets you 10. Up to you. Over Nance, under Jaquez, over Pritchard, over Wright, under Shea, and I don't know. I'll leave it as the over because he needed 8 points anyway. So at that line, he gets you a push. But like I said, it's possible. I wouldn't be surprised if he got you 10 points today. Boom. All right. Woo! An hour and 30 minutes in. We are good to go. Oh. Porzingis under fantasy score. Yeah, let's take a look at that one real quick. 36 is his fantasy score. Porzingis' fantasy score can be a victim of the talent on that team because they are so good. It's not required for him to be on the floor 40 minutes. It's not required of him to have monster games. What's really going to help his fantasy score are the blocks and steals. If the blocks and steals aren't there, oh my God. If the blocks and steals aren't there, he just has to make up for that in points alone. Like, he can get hot for sure. But last game against the Heat, he played 34 minutes. That's average. I mean, that's not high. It's not low. It's average. He scored 18 points. No rebounds. 4 rebounds, but you know what I'm saying. He had 5 RA. So in this offense with Tatum, Brown, and White, it's hard to be the leading scorer in that group game in and game out. So I think the under on his fantasy score does make sense, especially if the Celtics manage to get out to a big lead again today. First half points for Porzingis in the last game against the Heat, he gave you 13, and in the second half, he gave you 5. Why? Because they were up by 20 plus pretty much the entire fourth quarter. So I think if there was anything you wanted to target with Porzingis, it would be first half PRA. Now, if this game is close and it's a, we've seen Miami make very, very quick adjustments game over game. So it's possible we see Miami come out, look like a different team, and they keep it tighter. In that scenario, Porzingis is on the floor a little longer. Yeah, I can see him definitely going over that. But, you got to figure out what narrative you want to roll with here. So we can build out a fantasy score just based off his odds and see what we get. So he is projected by odds alone to go over his point prop. So that's about 18 points right there. Minus 138 to go over 6.5 rebounds. Listen, I know he's gone over 7 in a lot of these games, but this Miami defense, the way they play, I wouldn't be surprised if he got you another 5 rebounds or more or less. But if we want to go by just the odds and not what we think is going to happen, that's 7 rebounds right there. So 8.2. It's 7 times 1.2, which is your fantasy score for a rebound. So that's 8.2 plus the 18 is 26.2. Projected to get you about 3 assists today. That's 4.5. $30.7, right? Yeah, 30.7. Projected to get you like 4 steals and blocks. I think that's a little high. Let's say he gets you 3 steals and blocks. That's 30. That's 39. That's 39 fantasy points right there. Minus turnovers, that's 37 fantasy points. So based off this build out on just odds, the odds are telling us he's going to go over. We're just doing the math. He's projected for about 37 fantasy points. What would keep him under this if his steals and blocks were lower than what we think? If he just went out there and got you 2 steals and blocks, that will put him at around 34 fantasy points. Also, if he has a lower scoring night, I think we see his RA in a similar spot. I don't think we see his RA over 10. He is going to sit in the fourth quarter if the Celtics are up comfortably. There's simply no need to play the starters, especially him. In my opinion, out of all the Celtics starters, he is the most fragile because he's so goddamn tall and his feet are so damn big, and big men have those ankle and feet and knee issues. It's a fact, and he's been battling shit all year. So I feel like the first sign of a game that's out of hand, he gets the nod to sit. And that definitely suppresses his upside. So I wouldn't blame you if you took the under on his fantasy score at 36. I would love to see this one get bumped up to 37. I would feel a little bit better about playing the under at 37. At 36, if this guy comes out there and gets you 3 or 4 blocks and steals, That's going to be really tough for him to stay under 36. Locks and steals add up real fast. All right. Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's stream. Knuckles is looking at the hero combo with Judge on the special tab. $4.5 or more threes made, total bases. Out of all these props, they do such a good job of comboing these because I look at the Tatum and Alvarez and I think, man, Tatum is capable of going out there and getting you 3 or 4 threes, but Alvarez is out there going 0 for 5. They do such a good job with these props. It is like pretty even. I don't see any combo here that I'm like, hell yeah, lock that shit in. That's crushed the over. These all feel like very, very thin lines to me. Maybe Porzingis. I mean, just because all these guys are capable of going out there and going 0 for 4. Like, we've seen Acuna go hitless. We've seen Judge strike out 3 times in a game. We've seen Corey Seager go 0 for 4 in the game. So they just do such a great job of pairing really good 3-point shooters with players that have been a little inconsistent to start the year. But at least they're most things are at 4.5, whereas last time they were at 5.5. So I think you're getting a little value here. I need to do some research on these because Jordan Alvarez is pissing me off. All right. I have built out a few slips over in the Discord, but I will share the slip that I built out earlier this morning. I will share the player props that we talked about in today's live stream. I share those every single day for the members in the Discord. Well, whenever we have a live stream, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays. As the playoffs go further and further into the year, I will open up a live stream on Sunday because as the games get fewer and fewer, it'll be very important to cover them. So at some point, we'll be doing a live stream on Sundays if there are games to talk about. If there are no games to talk about in the playoffs on a Sunday, then we won't do a live stream. But if we start getting those games as we get into the conference championships, finals, so forth, we'll look to open up a live stream on Sunday. But that is going to do it for today. Speaking of live stream, there will be no live stream tomorrow. I will be back on Friday, 8:55 a.m. I like the 5-minute early start time. Been rolling with that the last few days. But if you're not able to make it in at 8:55, as long as you're able to show up at some point, I appreciate the support, appreciate the time. Subbing up to the channel, it does mean a ton. It helps this channel get bigger every day. Hit that thumbs up, that like button on your way out, especially if I answered a question for you. Don't be that person, but hit that like button on your way out. Consider sharing this content with somebody you know. And if you want to see more plays, if you want more slips, then hit me up over in the Discord. That link is in the stream description. You can always shoot me a DM if you have a question. Be more than happy to chop it up with you outside of the live stream. But as I always say, I wish you the best of luck today. I hope all of your player props respect the damn coin. Once again, I will be back on Friday, 9 a.m., 8:55 a.m. with another live stream. Have a great day, everybody. Treat yourself. Do something nice for yourself. Do something nice for somebody else. And until our next live stream on Friday morning, Chavez is out.